Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Israel, Shabbat Shalom. Give everybody a couple minutes to tune in, those that will be tuning in with us on this Shabbat message. We're going to keep pushing forward. I hope everybody had a blessed week, a productive week more than anything, able to wake up and give the Most High Yah the glory for just giving you another opportunity to experience life. In the past weeks, Shabbat message, we talked about, how often people die and, life taken for granted and they never experiencing, the wisdom from the Most High Yah, never reading the instruction manual, of this life that the Creator, gave us. And it's the journey of seeking the old paths, because a lot of stuff is changing. Constantly we're dealing with an adversary, an opponent that doesn't want us to have truth, because it wants to be the source of how you live your life. But you truly have to be set apart and seeking the wisdom of the Most High Yah, so you can doggone walk righteously and live set apart, once you come out from among them. Man, today's message is lawless or law-abiding. Are you on the right side of the law? Man, I'll say that you have people that, due to pride, will exalt themselves to the level of the Most High Yah. And that's the same reason, Hasatan, the adversary, the opponent, was put out of the kingdom. That's the reason he was severed from righteousness, due to pride, wanting to exalt himself. Man, when you think about mankind being created in the image of the Most High Yah, it's crazy, because the opponent used that same thing to tempt Eve, and saying, you will be like a god and have all this wisdom. And she took the bait. Adam took the bait also, not realizing that in man you had something that already had been created in the image of the Most High Yah. That shouldn't have been appealing, but pride, wanting to exalt yourself to his level and make it seem like we're on a friendship basis. That's where society with this religion is a friend. That's how they treat the Creator, not realizing, humbling themselves, saying, okay, we are the creation, we can move in his image, we have the ability to create, but not at the capacity that he does. And Genesis chapter 1 will make that very clear. Man, I want you to realize that in this daytime and hour, you have people that say with their lips that they're connected. You have people that say with their lips that they believe, that they have faith, and they're serving. But behind the scenes, you see pride. You see them trying to exalt themselves instead of being a salt to the earth, instead of being in servitude and in submission to the Creator. You don't see that. And what we're experiencing is, especially in the daytime and hour, you're experiencing people that hate the instructions of the Most High Yah. They hate his laws. They hate his commandments. They hate his precepts. They hate his judgments. They hate his statutes. And they spend more time trying to justify why you shouldn't obey, the Most High, than realizing that he gave you something to help you navigate this lifetime, but you fail to apply yourself. That's why it says, be doers of the word, so that you don't deceive yourself. But that's the very same thing that people don't want to do. You look at today, it's a set apart day. Man, if you could do a poll and say, okay, We know what historically was in the book, and it's still there today, keeping the Sabbath. And you look at what the rest of the world is doing, and they got a different concept. And when you trace this thing back, you think about how many in each city is really living set apart, that claim to be connected while not obeying. And then when you look behind why they're not obeying, you're going to realize there's some hatred there. There's some entitlement, wanting to be blessed in abundance without doing anything. And people don't realize that's just his mercy. That's just his mercy on you. The word says to agree quickly with your adversary. And today I want you to be able to realize when you're experiencing your opponent or your adversary. Your adversary don't want you being obedient, don't want you submitted to righteousness. Now, I'm not talking about religion. We ain't going down that route, but don't want you submitted to righteousness, being in right standing. And I'll show you why. And the law has a lot to do with it. People will fight you on this stuff because they want to live lawless on it. I encourage you not to fight with them. If people want to go out and go against his will because they think just because he's not issuing judgment expediently that they getting away, let them go on. They don't want to obey. Can't force nobody. All right. So thank you for tuning in today for this Shabbat message. We're going to push forward. Man, I put 2 links in the description talking about the Great Reset. Man, it's important that you stay on the up and up of what's going on, but also you separate yourself from the norms of society so you're no longer in the mindset of being a victim when you have opportunity and time to prepare. In those 2 links in the description, you can see that people get caught up in what is going on. Meanwhile, you have communities out here that don't worry about gas prices. They don't worry about all of this stuff. Why? Because they in the wilderness. They've kept to the old paths. You sitting up worried about, man, if there's no gas, if there's no electricity, if there's no this, and they've been living for years according to them old paths. People will look at them, make fun of them, and say, man, I don't know how you could live like that. But guess what? There are hardened people. You're not finna just unplug the electricity and see all this murmuring. I encourage you in what's going on, get prepared. People saying, man, you know what? They're playing with our food. If you got to go to the store and buy it from them, it's not your food. The obedience of this book is telling you, grow you some food, grow your own food, get you some cattle, get you some livestock. It's telling you to do that. You have some people want to remain lawless and be victims. Man, we got to separate ourselves from that. Get ready. My mind is thinking about, okay, the other day I said, man, let me get on Facebook Marketplace and see who's giving away anything when it comes to wood. Somebody got a tree that needs to be removed. Somebody got some old lumber that they want. Because here's the thing, you can have them doggone wood stoves and people looking at you crazy. Why you want that? Let the power go out. Let there be no kerosene and no propane. Them trees gonna still burn and be good and warm. People will laugh at you for being prepared because they don't know how to respond to it. Don't know how to respond to it. And you have to get out of these cities in order to be able to do that. Slowly make your way out, come out from among them. All right. Isaiah chapter 30, verses 9 through 11. That this is a rebellious people. So he's letting you know people are going to rebel. Lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Think about how common that is for these people that say that they serve him. They serve him until it's time to follow the instruction, until these things that can protect you from all this wickedness, they serve him up until that point. Which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. Man, you will let somebody tickle your ears, and this person will control so much of your life. This system can control so much of your life because you've allowed your ears to be tickled and you've had the blueprint the whole time. Here's another one. Pay attention to what's going on with the border. Look at how these politicians move the goalpost. One day, they're illegal aliens, you know, undocumented citizens, citizens without documents, you know, migrants. You need to look into what is a citizen. You have people that have been birthed on this soil. Families have been here for generations, but they haven't entered into contract with the heathen, and they're considered illegal aliens. Wait a minute, I was born here, but I can't dwell here. Where should I go? You got to look at how they move the goalposts, the wordplay that they do. Right now, they're opening, these gates, and you got to think, man, when I lived in El Paso, we lived about a mile from the border. My backyard, I could look at the backyard, see the border fence, see them in these trucks driving back and forth. And now that's not so. Now we're laying out the red carpet to come across, and you don't think that when they're giving out these free hotels, this free medical, this monthly stipend, $2,500, that these people are not going to sway the way that they are told. Hey, we gave you this life. We let you be a citizen. You don't think they're going to conform? Meanwhile, you have people that have made the mistake of relying on the system, and they're saying, what is the system going to do for us? No. Separate yourself. What are you going to do for you? What are you going to do for you to get prepared? You got to think about these places. You got some places that's got a lot of people. They got one Walmart, one grocery store. Everybody's relying on that main source. Everybody's laughing and it's sounding good, while that source is doggone giving you the things that you're able to purchase. But what happens when that's not so? You'll see a lot of sour faces and people that aren't prepared, a lot of men that aren't prepared. This system, your opponent, this adversary wants to bend men over. Why do you think they promote that lifestyle? Be one of these men out here that's anti-weapons, anti-gun. You're going to be the first one to get bent over. You're not hardened. You don't have a warrior spirit, a warrior mentality. You believe in this lawless system. See what I'm saying? You got the man. They run this thing off of debt. Book tells you not to live like that. You can be leveraged. Lawless want to bend you over and make you take it. We might not see conflict, but if you're preparing, you got weapons, you got food, resources to be able to keep yourself warm and all of this, ammo, them guns and ammo, you can pass on to the next generation. They can keep on building. So when something does jump off, you good and ready. They good and ready. Which say to the seers and not to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. You got people go looking for that every week, want to get their ears tickled, and they pay for it. There's no way you can be reading the book and pay for somebody to tickle your ears and think that you have understanding. It says, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. You have people that read the book and they see Israel, and they've been so-called in this thing for many years, and they think about the location Israel. They don't think about the people. All right. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 through 9. This is where you have to be very cautious, because you have to think, when the opponent tempted Eve, he tempted her with the opportunity to be on the same level as God. When we're the creation, he's the creator. Last night I talked about being in the image of. You got to think about, you got a shadow. When you're in the light, you have a shadow, you got a reflection. You're created in that. Doesn't mean you're the Almighty. He allows you to tap into some of them powers, but you're not the Almighty. Isaiah 55, 8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, say the Lord. You can't even fathom why things are, why he created this. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. He's letting you know we're not on the same level. You got to think about how many people are saying made in the image of God, but walking contrary to that. It sounds good. It's very catchy. Good punchline. But are you really walking in it? Are you really moving in it? Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, verse 28. Strive for truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. I'm going to tell you this. You have people that worship money, and they're not worried about obedience to the Most High, and it's not going to profit them on the day of calamity. It's not going to profit them. Man, let me tell you, if you got $1 million in the bank, you got a very diverse stock portfolio, let them cut the power on your house. Let the power get cut. Let there be no gas. Let there be no kerosene, no propane. You're going to see that only the strong survive. And if you haven't been slowly hardening yourself, getting your mind hardened to the norms of what could be, you setting yourself up to be a doggone victim. Your money ain't no good at that point. The electricity you got all this money, this digital money. Electricity get cut. Don't have no power. This stuff is happening. You can't even show nobody what your worth is. And here I am with all these resources, food, wood. And here you are talking about what I got to do to nobody. Your paper money is not going to mean anything. Only the strong will survive. But you just don't get there overnight. Being prepared and obeying the Most High Yah has never failed me. Not once. Not once. It was the times where I got comfortable and complacent and said, man, I don't need to prepare. Let somebody else figure it out. That's the victim mindset. That's lawlessness. Strive for truth unto death. Some people plug in and never keep getting fed from that source, and eventually they short out because you plugged into the wrong source. They can't feed you. You just stuck, burnt out. It says, and the Lord shall fight for thee. Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 8. Set not thine heart upon goods unjustly gotten, for they shall not profit thee in the day of calamity. Man, you can have all this stuff, and like I said, it won't profit you in the end. You're not gonna have to navigate yourself out of a bowl of jello. And this is how you will be bent over. Do what the system tells you to, because you haven't been seeking out truth until the end. You let these people define what truth is. Meanwhile, all you had to do was search for it until death. You can't be out here taking advantage of people. When you look at this great reset, you have people that worship money that want to take advantage of people in poverty, people struggling. They're not looking to help. I'm here to tell you right now, don't rely on this system and then raise your hand and say, I'm a victim when you can do something about it. When you can do something about it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 18. My son, gather instruction from your youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. Never should stop learning. This world has a plethora of stuff that it wants you to learn. It's okay for you to learn this. But you start getting into the basics, why you want to learn that? You start getting questions. Why you want to know how to set a fire? Why you want to know how to build a temporary shelter? Why you want to know about gardening and growing and farming? You got to think about the Amish community. All this technology out there. You got John Deere tractors and all this stuff. You know what they out there doing? Still using horses, donkeys, and mules. Because that way ain't never failed them. Them hands is good and calloused. Got to think about this. Only the strong gonna survive. It's in life, period, man. I did a speaking engagement yesterday when I was talking about most people don't know what it took for them to actually enter into this world. And out of one ejaculation, releasing 30 to 40 million sperm, and only one sperm out of that possibly will survive swimming upstream to attach itself to the egg. Man, you've been fighting this whole time. And you think just because you arrived, the fight is over? Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 23. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. How many people refuse his counsel? Because what the world has given them, their job, their car, their little bit of success. Nah, I'm good on that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want this counsel. I don't need it. But once you do need it, it's too late. You're not gonna know where to find it. You ain't spent no time navigating this. Been in darkness this whole time. Never tried to find the most high source. Never tried to find the light. And now all of a sudden the world's just supposed to stop because you need help. You didn't even want to help you. Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, verse 15. Let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the law of the Most High Yah. Man, I have very little time to talk about things that are merely a distraction to worldly folk. I'm not no longer in that system, no longer in that game. Don't want to be a part of it. About what such and such is doing and all of this and catching up and staying good on that, man. Want to be talking with the wise. Hey, show me how to do that. What's the workings of that? So that's how not in a worldly sense, but returning to them old paths. Learning how to refrigerate without no refrigerator. I gotta coming up this next coming year, want to be more prepared for the dead season because last year I was able to grow some stuff in the summertime. It's a learning curve, but I want to be around the wise that can, this year we got to get in. It's growing all this stuff is one thing, but when it's time for harvest, what's the plan for it? Are you gonna can it? You gonna dehydrate it? But you gotta be around the wise. You can't be around the foolish and learn this stuff. Ecclesiasticus chapter 11, verse 15. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. The world wants you to go get all this education and have none of them. They gave you this education, told you make a life based upon this, and then you find out you fall flat on your face when you do that. You still in the hamster wheel. This right here, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding will let you know, man, there is a hamster wheel. There is a box that they want people to color in. Why do they want people corralled in these cities? Closer they get you to the city, the more reliant you become on them, the more rules they can implement on you. When you get to the wilderness, you realize, man, there's some protection out here. Ecclesiastes 16, verse 24 through 25. My son, hearken unto me and learn knowledge and mark my words with thy heart. Some people want to mark it on their head. They got head knowledge, but it's not on their heart. They're not convicted. The belief is in their mind, but they're not convicted to actually walk in it. I will show forth doctrine in weight and declare his knowledge exactly. This is why some people, because they plugged into something that actually wasn't connected to the source. All these 31 flavors of religion, all these different doors, and these people are telling you this the way. He gave you this map. He gave you uh, a source to where you could be able to navigate this thing. And then you start to realize, dang, I separated myself from that. You got somebody over here with the same mind. Somebody across the country, same mind, same spirit, same source. This is why people that plugged in and didn't continue on in truth, seeking knowledge and wisdom throughout old age, this is why they get stuck. They say, how do you know this? You got people that claim to read the whole book, but some of this stuff, they be like, I didn't know that was in there. What good is saying you didn't read the whole book if you have applied none of it? It's like somebody who goes to school for 50 years learning how to work on cars, reading books, looking at schematics and all of that, but you ain't never took no wrench. You ain't never felt the shock of that battery if you touched the wrong terminal at the same time. You have no experience in it. Sirach chapter 33, verse 2 through 3. A wise man have not the law, but he that is an hypocrite, there is a ship in a storm. A wise man hateth not the law, hateth not the law. But he that is an hypocrite, therein as a ship in a storm. You're going to be all over the place. You're hypocritical in your beliefs, your lifestyle. You ain't gonna be able to find safety. You ain't gonna be able to find peace. It says a wise man hateth not the law. The law keeps you. How does this sound, man? You have people that are abide by every law that they come out. Foolish as it can be, this system gives you, they abide by every law. But the creator's law, you'll find out for some reason they have a hatred in their heart towards the creator's, the most high, Yah's law. When it would show you who is who. That's why some people can't see this thing. They can't see as who. They can't discern. They can't test the spirit because they're too busy, playing religious while living lawless. You ain't gonna be able to see nothing. Psalms 119, 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. It's everything else that you got to be watchful for that can take your soul captive and lead you into more wickedness. People plugging in to paths that is a big bold sign. If you got discernment, it says dead end. Plugging into it. Everybody else plugging into it. Plug right in. Better go the other way. That ain't it. That ain't it. Long line over there, everybody wait. Nope, that ain't it. Keep on walking. This word will reveal the hatred that's in people's heart. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. You gotta be mindful when these people try to sit up and say, no, the law is this and this, that. We're gonna break that down today. Because where you seeing that, you're seeing somebody that's nothing more than a modern day Pharisee. When we look at and thy law, that structure right there, that's H8451 from root word H3384, to direct, to teach, to instruct, to point out, to inform, to provide direction. To hate the law is not to want that. He's trying to inform you it's an obstacle, it's a snare, it's a barrier. put in place by your opponent. This how you juke that. This how you spin off on it. You're going to have to hurdle over this. Hey, at this point, I want you geared up, ready, like Abraham's trained servants. People don't want it. They don't want to be directed. They don't want to be taught, instructed, things to be pointed out, for this wisdom to be revealed. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23, for the commandment is a lamp. Think about a lantern. And the law is a light. Got this lamp. Now you got a flame to it. That flame is burning, and you like, man, I can see this. And reproofs of instructions are a way of life. Some people got the commandment, but ain't no flame in it, ain't no light. They want to stay in that darkness. Well, I got the lamp. It's over there in the cupboard. No, when you gonna put the flame to it? Be surprised, man, that you start to see the rebellious, hateful spirit when it comes to receiving righteous correction, and people don't want it. And it's the same correction that could save your soul, keep you from stumbling. You got more, man, there's some stuff out there right now called HIV PrEP. People taking this stuff like vitamin C so they can continue living lawless and think this stuff is gonna profit them. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20, to the law and the testimony. When you look at all these different doors that you can plug into, only thing they want to give you is a testimony. Let me tell you my testimony. They keep you stuck in these testimonies, just constant testimonies, but it says to the law and the testimony. What good is that testimony if this was done for you and you don't know how to walk? You don't know the left and right limit. Just imagine driving on a mountain and you driving, there ain't no speed signs telling you, hey, around this curve, you need to go 35. What if there was no metal barriers there? You come down this thing 70 miles an hour, slide off the road. Man, them laws is that barrier to keep you on that straight and narrow path. People don't want it. They want to be in that Dodge Demon coming down the mountain. And then as soon as you crash, oh, my baby lost his life. Blaming Dodge, blaming the city. Man, you have to know when to proceed with caution. The law will teach you that. So you don't get ahead. You get in there and start feel all that power, that 800 horsepower. Get yourself hurt. That's what the law is. It's telling you, you got to be mindful. If these people is giving you the testimony, they need to be giving you the law too. Because that testimony right there is an opportunity for you to plug into source, the Most High Yah, his Ruach, that to feed you, and then you to walk in his left and right limits so you can stay plugged in. You might be plugged in praying for wickedness, thinking that he's going to continue to allow you to be fed by the source, but you're praying for him to allow you to do abominations, foolishness. That's a quick way to get yourself unplugged because you're lawless. John chapter 9, verse 31. Now we know that Yah heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he will hear. We're going to break this down. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. You mention the law, somebody, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nothing about that. You listen to all these other worldly laws. but you won't listen to the one that created you, these laws that he gave you. Hmm. He's not hearing their prayers. Prayers are an abomination. He hate them because you don't want to be in his provision, in his rules, in his instruction. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4, whosoever committeth sin transgress also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. Man, don't let nobody sit up and play with your soul, telling you that you need to repent and having this hypocritical, spiritually retarded mindset that the law was done away with. What do they want you to repent for if sin is the transgression of the law? He gave you these rules, these instructions, and it's not until you learn them that you realize, dang, I was outside of these left and right limits. I was sinning. Man, we heard a message from Shep the other night, and it was talking about if a man laying down with a virgin that's betrothed, and then the father supposed to be receiving 50 shekels of silver, and you're not to divorce her all the days of your life. That made me think right there. I said, I need to repent. Need to repent, you know. But the lawless want to continue doing that because it's fun to them. Act like it didn't happen, like you just took the virginity, the virtue from a woman, and it's okay. You're just gonna move on because everybody else doing it. Not plugged into that. And then be wondering why there's no quality people. For sin is the transgression of the law. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 19. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed. Man, when you're walking in his truth, his left and right limits, you have no reason to fear. It's when it says fear is the beginning of wisdom, when you're outside of them left and right limits, you don't have no wisdom. You hitting every stumbling block there is. Like you walking down a dark hole and every door got a rock'em sock'em behind it. And somebody just hitting the button, pow, every time. They that fear the Lord are a sure seed, and they that love him an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. It's letting you know, man, a lot of lawless out there. Don't want correction. Just want to act like it. Give lip service. But if you stay in this thing and you're plugged into source, it's going to show you who is who. This could be your family, your loved ones, your brother, your sister, your mama, your wife, your husband, your kids. This word tells us don't, have a multitude of unprofitable children. He's not pleasing you having these lawless children. A lot of deceivable seeds, man. And before you come out of this thing, you deceived also. You have a lot of people that read this stuff, but never come out from among. They say it. It sounds real good when they say it. Come out from among them. You'd be like, man, that sounds good. But when are you going to do it? Be a doer of the word. When are we going to see some doing? Instead of them lips just brewing, tickling people's ears. Romans chapter 2, verse 12 through 13. For many have sinned without the law, shall also perish without the law. How many of you heard religious people say, if you live by the law, you're going to die by the law? They be saying this stuff, eyes be getting big. It sounds good. It'll make you think. But you can tell that they read this without being plugged into source. They read this without having the spirit of understanding. Gotta think about this. If you don't know what the rules are, the left and right limits are, think about how easy it is to stumble and to fall. But you don't know where you went wrong. This is what this is saying. For as many as have sinned without the law shall perish without the law, and as many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. So those who have sinned in the law, you know what the instruction is. You had the wisdom, but you still chose to drive your car 90 miles an hour down a road that told you need to go 25. Don't ride your brakes. Don't ride the shoulder. Here you are blazing down. You still gonna be judged by that law. When they come write that report up, how fast was he going? We can tell due to the screech marks, he wasn't obeying the laws. Still gonna be judged by it. That's exactly what that means right there. Verse 13, for not the hearers of the law are just before Yah, but the doers of the law shall be justified. You think about this. Somebody say, hey, make sure you pay attention to them speed signs going down that mountain. It's going to tell you some instructions on how to navigate it. You heard them say that, but it says, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So it's not until you get behind that wheel and say, man, I care about my soul. I care about my life. I'm going to follow these left and right limits so I can make it down to the bottom of this mountain. Keep going on with my life. His laws is telling you how to navigate this thing so you're not in violation, so you don't wreck yourself. Yeah, a lot of people that will hear it won't do it. You're going to find all kind of tribulations, all kind of stumbling blocks. Romans chapter 3, verse 31. Very important because this Roman Greco culture we live in, they're giving you this faith-based religion while living completely lawless. And it's addressed in the book of Romans. Do we then make void the law through faith? Asking, now that we got this faith, is the law void? Now because I'm saved by faith, I don't need to follow the law? Here's what this is. And I'm going to use that mountain analogy again. You believe that you can make it to the bottom and you're going to be saved. But guess what? If you're not willing to obey and do them laws that will ensure your safety down the mountain, you're not going to make it. It's the same thing. It's that easy. Do we make void the law through faith? You doing here, you coming down 80 miles an hour, speed limit say 25. Stay off the shoulder. You in the shoulder fishtailing. Oh, I believe I'm going to make it down. Go off the side of the mountain, same way. It says, Yah forbid, we establish the law. We uphold the law. Matthew chapter 5, verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle, one little bit, shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Think about that. People try to tell you it's done away. You can't make what they're saying math. It don't math. You realize a lot of people claim to believe until it's time to do. Telltale sign of lawlessness. Even your opponent believes. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law. The lawless go to this and try to warp your mind and say he came to destroy it. You got to think how spiritually you retarded you got to be able to read this. You got people with PhDs, bachelor's degrees. This thing says, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. The one that delivered this to you. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. This is the reason etymology is key. These Romans gave you all these Greek translations to try to throw you off the path. To fulfill. G4137, to carry into effect, to complete in every particular way, to render perfect, to carry out, to perform, to execute, to obey Yah's will. First Peter chapter 2, verse 21 through 25. For even hereunto you were called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving an example that we should follow his steps. You got to think about this. You have to be able to put your actions to where your mouth is. Messiah said, if you're not willing to hate your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your wife, your kids, even your own life, you can't be my disciple. You could be easily leveraged. You got folks letting it roll out. I'm following them. You holding on to a car, holding on to some money, holding on to some success. It's not about saying what sounds good amongst religious folks. No, separate yourself. He gave us a perfect example. What made him perfect was he carried out the law. I'm talking about from a baby to grown. There was no imperfection found in him. What good would it have been in an example if he gave us somebody that was going to violate the law? What righteousness could they teach you if they was constantly violating it along the way? Wouldn't be a perfect example. You have to think about this in leadership. Lead by example. You want somebody that's able to do that. You don't want somebody that's a drunkard, an idolater, a fornicator, an adulterer, somebody playing with tarot cards, telling you to live right. That ain't gonna do you no good. He gave us a perfect example. Who said, you don't have no reason to make no excuse. Walk as I walk. Be holy as I am holy. People give pushback. It's too hard. The minute you say it's too hard, you didn't stop trying. You have stopped trying. For even hereunto you were called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving an example that ye should follow his steps. Got to get in step, get in sync. So we got to do what our lives, get our lives in sync with righteousness. Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Was guile, G1388, deceit. Wasn't deceiving nobody, wasn't trying to trick nobody. You want to follow me? Do as I do. You see the step I take the same step. If you try to add a two-step where I only took one step, that's to your own doggone demise, your own failure. This walk that I'm on is simple. It's straight, it's narrow, it's not curvy, it's not windy. Galatians chapter 3, verse 10 through 13. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things that are written in the book of law to do them. That's Deuteronomy 28 right there. When you look at the bottom 3/4 of Deuteronomy 28, the curses, you got to think, why was Israel cursed? Because they didn't obey the law. When Egypt, the Most High Yah was saying, hey, don't do this, don't do X, Y, and Z. They went to Egypt and did all that. Verse 11, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of Yah. The reason for this is you have people that was trying to keep the law. The law says you got to sacrifice a goat, a bull, or whatever they were sacrificing. And they was lining all these animals up to be sacrificed so they could go back and keep sinning, keep transgressing. The just shall live by faith. So when you believe that he is the example, you believe that he didn't take no steps that would lead you to error. And once you believe that, now it's time to start walking. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. Think about that. That's the separation right there. Messiah just didn't, come execute the law. No, he believed in the one who sent him. The same thing. We're to believe in the one that was given a perfect example to us. Nobody can tell you when you start asking about the law. If anybody asks, nobody can tell you, and we're going to point this out in the end, where you can err in life by obeying the law. Nobody can point it out. The man that doeth them shall live in them. Hamashiach hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. That's what I said. Cursed is the man that hangeth on the tree. They didn't even realize what he was doing. They looking at him and like he's cursed. He was the perfect example. For it is written, curses everyone that hangeth on a tree. Was he hanging on a cross? Was he hanging on a tree? Romans chapter 5, verse 12 through 13. Wherefore is by as one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Imputed, G1677, put on one's account, lay to one charge. You have to think about this. After they ate the fruit, there was a judgment issued. But prior to that, what was the law? So there was sin in the world, but there had to be left and right limits to correct it. The fallen angels had to do all this stuff, had to descend and commit all this sexual immorality for there to be some left and right limits to give us law. If somebody decides to do something in a vehicle that's never been done in the history and it take a whole bunch of people out, guess what? They're going to create new laws, especially if this stuff start happening more and more. They're going to create laws because they've realized there's a way to err right there. We need to correct this. Most High Yah did the same thing all the way from the beginning to the end. And once he had this law, when you look at Messiah, he came and lived it. And when the Pharisees was calling him out, based upon the wisdom that he had from the Most High Yah, they were constantly getting rebuked, called hypocrites. Psalms 1, verse 1 through 2. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Don't put yourself in front of these sinners. Don't put yourself in front of them. Let them go on about their business. They want to live lawless, let them go on. That's their choice. Don't need to be hanging around seeking counsel from the wicked. Why would somebody want to hang around the ungodly and seek counsel? It's usually for money. You want to learn their ways. You sit around bumping elbows, call yourself fellowshipping. Talking about I love God, and they teaching you all the wicked ways. So you can go out here and get in the world, be of the world for what your soul really lusts after, which is unrighteousness. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. You think about that, man, meditating on it. Man, let me pay attention to these left and right limits so I don't stumble, man. I don't fall. So I can avoid some of these trials and tribulations when I was ignorant, my former life, before I was plugged into source. Acts 3:19, repent ye therefore and be converted. Repent. I'm sorry. No, what you sorry for? The law is what tells you that. And be converted, that your sins may be blotted out when the time of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord. It's knowing what you're sorry for, knowing where you erred, learning how not to err. This is the way I want you to walk. Getting them sins blotted out. Somebody putting an eraser to your sins. Mark that off. You good. Walk this way. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31 through 34. And this is something right here where you have these folks that say, man, that they're New Covenant, New Testament, all this, and they don't even know what they're talking about. Because the stuff that they're saying, all these different 31 flavors of religion, denomination, it's not even in the book. Not even in the book. And you realize somebody just giving you a bunch of religious mumbo jumbo, and they can't tell you, can't get back to the basics of how they came up with that. They plugged into it, somebody told them, and they've been regurgitating it ever since. Behold, that behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them. Husband unto them? Two. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws in their inward parts, making you his bride, and write it on their hearts, and will be their Yah, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they all should know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. They're going to be blotted out. You got to think, the Most High Yah has written these laws on your heart, and people sitting up there trying to fight it like it's something wrong with it. Most High told us there's nothing wrong with the law. He found fault in the people. Exodus chapter 12, verse 49. One law shall be to him that is homeborn and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. You got somebody that's not used to your customs and your tradition. You don't allow them to dwell with you, and then you start following all their doggone traditions and customs. No, it's one law. You homeborn into Israel, and as a stranger, hey, this is the way we do things. You're going to dwell with us, this is the way we do things. Not letting these folk talk you in. I don't know why you do that. That don't seem right. We don't do that. Wait a minute, it's in the book. We're going to do this. Numbers chapter 15, verse 29. You shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Israel and for the stranger that sojourneth among you. It ain't no separate set of rules for the Gentile. Oh, Gentiles ain't got to do that. If you believe and are walking in righteousness, one law. One law. Romans chapter 12, verse 1 through 12. A lot of people get caught up on the law because they don't get taught by somebody that's connected to the source of the Most High Yah, has his spirit of understanding. And this is the significant, shift right here between the old and the new. And it's the sacrifices. Romans chapter 12, verse 1 through 2. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yah, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice. As a living sacrifice. I no longer want these sacrifices, these animal sacrifices for sin, because you abused that. There was a law for that, and you abused it. You had all these animals that was ready for slaughter so you could keep sinning. Now, I want you to give your life as a sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto Yah, which is your reasonable service. That's your service. There's the action right there. People talking about it's a works-based salvation. He's telling you a service is to provide something through action. It's not communication. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect in the will of Yah. You have some people that claim to be in righteousness and don't think there's nothing unclean out there. And this is the reason why they diving in people's booty. That's the reason why. That's the reason they're making excuses for wickedness. These laws written on your heart, your conscience got you feeling guilty. Let me tell you something. If you abide by the Most High Yah's laws, you have no reason for somebody to be able to out you and embarrass you and to shame you, for you to put your head down. You ain't done nothing wrong. That's why you got these pool pimps getting caught up, because they out here butt cheek diving, doing all this crazy stuff, and then held low, putting a suit jacket over their face when they get caught up. Nobody could shame you if you was walking upright. John chapter 1, verse 29. The next day, John seeth Yeshua coming unto him and saith, Behold the Lamb of Yah, which taketh away the sin of the world. You got to think, prior to this, you was bringing this animal sacrifice to the priest, and his priest was receiving it, and through that animal sacrifice, your sins was being blotted out. But people would go do that and then turn right back to transgress the laws of the Most High Yah. And this is where we was given a perfect example through Yeshua to be the Lamb of Yah, which was given as a sacrifice to take away the sins of the world. That's the difference right there. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 9. This is why people don't get taught that, and they look at the law as something wrong. Well, you got to do all this with bulls and goats, and they don't realize we got Yeshua. We don't have to go to these priests no more. He's the high priest. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 9. But with precious blood of Hamashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot. You got to think about, if Yeshua did not execute flawlessly the law, he wouldn't have been the sacrificial lamb without blemish, without spot. He would have been spotted. It would have been what good would it have been for the Most High Yah to give us a sinner, a stone cold sinner, to try to remove the sins from the world? You ain't gonna remove nothing. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 1 through 10. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of things, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually to make the comers thereunto perfect. So year by year, they was doing these animal sacrifices. All right. For then they would not have ceased to be offered, because the worshipers, once purged, should not have no more conscience of sins. But in those sacrifices, there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. Every year you're having to come back and do this. And Yeshua step on the scene and he tells you, you are the sacrifice. You are the living sacrifice. Forget slaughtering all these animals. You lose your own life in order to gain it. For it is not the purpose of the blood of bulls and goats should take away sins. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body how hast thou prepared for me. So he came in a body that was meant to be sacrificed. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin, thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come. In the volume of the book it is written of me, to do thy will, O Yah. Above, when he say sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings, and the offerings for sin thou wilt not, neither has pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Then he said, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Yah. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second, by the which we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yeshua HaMashiach once for all. No more of this yearly, let me get these goats, let me get these bulls, these animals, and you having to remember, here we go, I'm doing the same sins time and time after again, year after year, same thing. I know last year I had 10 doggone sheep or goats without spot or blemish. Give me 10 more for the next year. I'm gonna need them because I'm going right back. That's the way they was living. Matthew chapter 7, verse 21 through 23. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Iniquity, G45:8, transgress the law. Unrighteousness, violate the law. Set to do wickedness. This is what you have when you have belief but are living lawless. You're still a transgressor of the law. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers. Hey, look at me. Look at this. Disobedient to parents. Not listening to my parents. Unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yah. And we are seeing this. That's what Matthew was talking about. Part ways, because you got a form of godliness, but you deny the power thereof. From such turn of, deny the power of. You plugged in to something that you had no business plugging into, instead of continuing on seeking wisdom, seeking his face, and plugging in to that infinite source. You plugged into something that was a dead end. This means you act religious, but don't fear Yah's judgments. You play the part real good. This is why you got folks doing all this twerk and all of this nonsense, still committing abominations in the temple, as we see in the book. Why would the righteous get caught hanging around you when the Most High Yah in time is going to issue judgment on you for your wickedness as listed above? If you don't repent and turn from your wicked way, you be a fool. Most High Yah tells you all through the book, I'm going to issue judgment. I'm issuing judgment. Why would somebody want to get caught around you on your lawlessness? Hey man, I'm finna go break the Sabbath and go pick up sticks. Well, I'm coming with you. Heck no. You go, you do what you do. I wouldn't do that if I was you. You might survive this one, but don't get comfortable in it. Verse 6. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lust. Joker doing some real key sweat ear tickling. Says ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. You gotta think about these people. They just spend how much time in these religious Bible studies and still ain't figured this thing out. Sitting here asking yourself, what you think this mean? Ain't nobody got the spirit of truth to deliver understanding and wisdom. It says ever learning. How many people just plugged in and said, man, I love God? And they have this talk, but they don't know what the love of the Most High Yah is. And they're partaking in the love of all these other Roman and Greek idols and deities. Sounds real good on the surface if you hear somebody talking to that, but do you see the fruit? Do you see the evidence of it? Never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Never able to be able to find that straight path. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. People saying everything clean. You can touch everything. But they come up with this stuff. Can't never provide you no scripture. You got people that will read this book without being connected to source and tell you that the doggone scribes, the Pharisees, that was constantly getting rebuked and called hypocrites, they'll tell you that they was righteous. Keep on following them if you want to. You're ever learning, never arriving at truth. So for the people that, I'm going to show you what they're fighting against. When they say the law is bad, the law is done away with, I'm going to show you what they're fighting against. And you're going to realize that they want to fulfill the lust of the flesh. They don't want to live righteous. Deuteronomy 22, verse 22 through 27. If a man is found lying with the wife of another man, both of them shall die, the man who lay with the woman and the woman, so you shall purge evil from Israel. So you want to be able to do all this entanglement, these sneaker links, these side. You want to be able to do all this, take another man's wife, do all that. That's what you're saying that is what you're saying when you say the law is done away with. I should be able to take another man's wife. If she want me and I want her, we good. It's telling you to purge all evil out of Israel. If there is a betrothed virgin and a man meets her in the city and lies with her, that means she's engaged for marriage, for matrimony. then you shall bring them both to the gate of that city, and you shall stone them to death with stones. The young woman, because she did not cry for help, though she was in the city, and the man, because he violated his neighbor's wife. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. It ain't no, he raped me. You had an opportunity to cry for help, but you didn't. You was in there liking it, getting dug out. Now you're gonna raise your hand. I'm a victim. Me too. He did this to me. Nope. But that's the kind of stuff that you promote when you say the law is done away with. You want to be able to take your neighbor's wife. Then you got all this blame shifting. This is without the law. People want to be able to fulfill the lust of the flesh. Using there doing all this moaning and groaning instead of crying out for help. Hey, he's really doing something to me. But if in the open country a man meets a young woman who is betrothed, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But you shall do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no offense punishable by death. For this case is like that of a man attacking and murdering his neighbor, because he met her in the open country, and though the betrothed young woman cried for help, there was no one to help her. That's the victim. That's why the man got to die. Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28. Man, you have to look at this. When it comes to people's kids, you see what they really stand for. They start to move the goalposts. Oh, it's a standard for everybody else, but when it comes to mine, no, it ain't got to be no standard. That's my baby boy. He didn't rape nobody. Let him slide. He just need a little probation. Wait a minute. For everybody else, you want them to doggone die. Get stoned. Moving the goalposts. Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, engaged for matrimony, for marriage, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's fathers 50 shekels of silver, and shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. So you say the law done away with, you fine with just taking all this virginity and virtue. That's what you're saying. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 7 through 23. Sanctify yourself, therefore, and be holy, for I am the Lord your Yah, and you shall keep my statutes and do them, and I am the Lord which sanctify you. So you must be anti-obedience to the will of Yah. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He that curseth his father or mother, his blood shall be upon him. This is why it says, let your days be long on earth. Honor your father and mother. But you must not support that, because you say something wrong with the law. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, I told you adultery is based upon the status of a woman. A lot of these Joe can't even teach adultery because they too busy getting brainwashed with infidelity and doggone cheating. And that ain't that them there's not even biblical terms pertaining to adultery. You ask 10 different people what is cheating, and they all gonna come up with something different. And ain't nobody gonna give you nothing concrete that we can define by the law. You know why? Because they want to keep living lawless. A man that lie with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be surely put to death. This is some of that P. Diddy stuff. You sitting up sleeping with your father's wife and you call yourself justified. That's what you support? Because if you against the law, you lawless. If a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion, their blood shall be upon them. Oh, she was so fine. She couldn't help myself, freak. That's what these people say. It should blow your mind when these folks say this stuff, and they've been involved in this stuff, claiming to have the truth the whole time. You just want a world of doggone freaknik out here. If a man also lie with mankind, this is why they invite this stuff in and be laughing. If a man also lie with mankind as he lie with woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. This is why the lawless, the people that that taught all the religious talk, they allow this stuff in. Come on in. We're gonna paint a rainbow on the steps to make you feel welcome. You have to be able to discern when people are telling you the law done away with. You have to understand that they hate the instructions of the Most High Yah. And what you're seeing is a religious act because they don't realize that the sun shines on the just and the unjust, and mercy is being shown upon them, and they are moving in ignorance because they're still being blessed. And the Most High Yah is hoping they'll get right. And if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. I told you, man, the lawless man, they want a doggone freak neat. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they, that they be no wicked among you. Getting into bestiality. This is why you should look at people like they're a freak when they say this stuff. Man, do you realize what you're saying? When you say the law is done away with, are you saying Messiah was into bestiality? If a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and you shall slay the beast. You know why? People want to go across the border and watch these donkey shows. Want to see this nasty stuff. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie down thereunto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. Gotta understand, boy, this is why you see so much foolishness. This is why you see the Pope endorsing the stuff that's in this word is an abomination. That's why they into this stuff. Why you think they playing with little boys, tickling little boy, doing all this stuff? That's why they telling you they hate the law. That's why they trying to come up with something new. Let me come up with something new so we can keep this image alive. Meanwhile, coming to this booth, I read that I don't have to come to you no more. Come in here, I got to touch you. It's my divine touch that heals you. Kind of nonsense they teaching. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she shall see his naked, it is a wicked thing. They shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He have uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall bear his iniquity. Think about this. That's nasty. You sit up here lusting after your sister. Yeah. That's how the lawless think. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister. That's your aunt. You peeking through the door. Let me see, auntie. Auntie look kind of good. That's what people when they say the law is done away. That's how nasty that is. Nor thy father's sister, for he uncovereth his near kin. They shall bear their iniquity. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He that have uncovered his brother's nakedness, they shall be childless. So think about this. That lines up with the Levirate law. Your brother had to die without a son for you to take his wife. There's laws for this. But no, they like, oh, that's the very same thing that the Most High Yah says is righteous. They think it's freaky. It's a complete 180 mindset. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and to do them, that the land, whether I bring you to dwell thereon, spew you not out. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nations, etymology H1471, Gentiles, heathen. You don't walk in their ways, which I cast out before you. For they committed all these things, and therefore I arbor them. You think about it, that's the same society we live in. When you ask your pastor, he say, man, we all Gentiles. He's telling you right now, he's a doggone butt cheek dog. He love it all. He want to look at the auntie, he want to look at the little kid, he want to do it all. That's what people tell you. That's what they're telling you. It's your job. Stay out their way. Believe me, don't bring your kids around them. The lawless are predators. It's not until you find his law that you realize, man, that was nasty. This heart is wicked. Whole head is sick. Not until you get cleansed from this filthiness. And these people trying to pass it off as they saved, and it's just nasty. Want to look at your auntie, look at your daughter-in-law, incest, bestiality. I tell you, if you hear somebody say that and you in one of these places, you need to get up and walk out. Because behind the scenes, I guarantee you, they got some Diddy parties going on and they promoting it. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. And Yah spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy Yah, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. This is why they hate the law. Because they want to be fornicating with all these other gods, whoring after all these other gods. You cannot find out about the history of some of these guys that's been intermingled into society and keep getting in bed with them. But what's a way you can tell yourself you justified? Oh, that law done away. We don't have to follow that. Okay, keep going. I'm gonna move out your way. You go ahead. I'm not going with you to no Walmart. I'm not going with you to no doggone Sam's Club, because I don't know when the Most High Yah gonna issue judgment. I'm gonna be in the wilderness, staying away from your butt. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images. This is why they say it's done, because they want to make an image. Or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or is that in the waters underneath. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy Yah, am a jealous Yah, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. He's telling you, you hate him. You got people talking about, man, I don't know why I'm struggling. And they don't realize they generationally cursed. And without faith in this right here, adherence to this, you ain't finna break no generational curse. That idolatrous, adulterous, fornicating, sexual immorality, witchcraft is passed on from generation. Why? Because you don't want to receive his instruction, because you hate him. And showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy Yah in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. The minute people don't want to do something, what do? Start complaining in the name of Yahshua. Oh my God, why we got to do it? Why we got to do that? You're just wicked. Remember the Sabbath day to keep. I want you to think about this. When the preacher was looking for the righteous out of 1,000, he only found one man, didn't find no women. Think about that. Think about that in your city where you at. How many people is actually setting themselves apart the way he said? Are they just plugging in where everybody else plugging in? Wonder why they're ever learning, never able to arrive at the truth. I can't figure out why that don't make no sense to me, because you ain't obeying none of it. That's why you don't have understanding. That's why he's never shown forth weight of doctrine, because you ain't obeyed none of it. You want him to show you something so you can continue living lawless, making excuses. Well, I'm not ready yet. All right, you ain't. That right then in itself is lack of effort. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy Yah. Man, you got to think. You're delivering a message to people that are lawless. Most High Yah's telling you to rest and to stay still. You got to understand, people are seeing his very commandments carried out, and they look at you like you the weirdo, not realizing you're showing them an example that could help save their soul. Got a lot of people leeching blessings off the righteous. constantly want to be connected and acting like it's worldly work is the reason why no tribulation came. It's what the lawless do. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy Yah. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughters, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea, all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. You plugged in, well, they gave you Sunday, and you said, you know what, I'm sticking with this. I'm good right here. Same thing I did in my former life, I can get in here and do. Only thing different is I just got to close my eyes, close my hands, and put my hands up, waving around the air like I just don't care. They let all that slide in there. I can drop down, get my eagle on here, and say I catch the spirit. Honor thy father and mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy Yah giveth thee. To be telling your kids, hey, you don't be lawless. Don't be surprised you sitting up here saying what you're not gonna do and what you don't want to do, and we should be listening to you as a child, and your days be short. You sitting up planning on all these dreams, and you might not make it by the night. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery. This is why you'll have these people that claim to believe they have a niece, a nephew, something that's completely lawless, then done all this kind of heinous stuff in the community, and they'll be wearing t-shirts talking about free little Daryl, free Keisha. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Man, this right here, you have to remove yourself from gossip. People that constantly want to pour out the tea. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Somebody telling you something, planting this in you, and you inserting your opinion, bearing false witness against them. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that's his neighbor's. Got a lot of fake, phony people smile in your face, covering after you, lawless. Oh man, it wasn't nothing, man. We was just, man, man, me and your wife, we was just having a cup of coffee. These people looking at you like you won't strangle the life out of them and then pray for them. Just nasty. They telling you they lawless. Exodus chapter 34, verse 12 through 18. Take heed to thyself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou go, lest it be a snare in the midst of thee. That's what happened. You got this power cord, Most High Yah in the word, telling you where to plug in, how to seek him. And you know what you say? You say, that seems so difficult. That seems so difficult. Let me just, everybody else plugged in over here. Let me just, yeah. Wonder why you don't have power on high. You know whether the power is on or not. You know where it's on or not. The religious folks, I can't be the one to lay hands. Ain't no power behind it. Hands are cold and nasty as can be. But you shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. For thou shalt worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose name is a jealous Yah. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land and go whoring after their gods. Filthy, nasty whore. We got to quit sugarcoating this. Jokers tell you the law done away with and y'all friends. I don't hang around no hoes. I don't hang around no whores. Nope. That was in my former life. Man, why I got to be all that? You can still love your brother, but you got to separate yourself. Judgment's coming. Judgment is coming. You better separate yourself. Go horn after their gods and to do sacrifices unto their gods. And the one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. And thou take of the daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go whoring after their gods. I told you, man, race is a distraction. These jokers gave you two colors, black and white, and distracted you with that. You got your hands sitting up talking about I'm the victim, and the Most High Yah gave you the way out. Man, you tell you something. You got a lot of people. As soon as something don't go their way due to their own lawlessness, should have been still, but you tried to get ahead of source. Raise their hand and play that race card. Why you think they only gave you two freaking colors? Can't buy into this nonsense. They gave you that so you don't focus on your Semitic lineage. You don't have too many people out here telling you, who the Amorites are, who these different people of the book. You need to find out where you come from and the culture that you come from so you can walk upright. You just plugged into somebody that told a mixed multitude of people. You got an Asian, a Mexican, a Caucasian, somebody that's of Semitic descent, somebody that's Native American. You plugged in right where they told you, y'all all Gentiles. Thou shalt not make thee no molten gods. Man, I started reading this. I say, man, this the end of that bust down Jesus piece. Looks real good. Looks religious. Ain't doing nothing for you. A molten God. You up here kissing this stuff. Before you commit lawlessness. The feast of unleavened bread shalt thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee in the time of the month of Abib. For in the month Abib camest out from Egypt. But the law done away with. You want to volunteer and think you're doing a good work by putting on that Easter bunny suit. Got all the women in the church loading up candy in these eggs. Ever learning, never able to arrive at the truth. Man, you need to have ears. You need to be able to see when you are connected to source. And I'm talking about you realize you're the only one in your area plugged in. Everybody else plugged in way back there, and you got the source and you able to see this stuff. Recognize when these people tell you that they hate the Most High Yah. Stay out their way. Don't be sitting up seeking counsel from the ungodly. I don't care what they got. They could be millionaires, be all of this. Don't seek counsel from them. He gave you all the counsel you need. You go down that wrong path, seeking counsel from the ungodly, that's what you're going to do. Well, this life right here was kind of boring. It's kind of played out. Tired of being the only one. You're going to unplug yourself. You're going to go plug in where everybody else is common to plug in. All them tribulations going to come on you sevenfold again. I tell you, man, some people don't appreciate the protection and the peace that comes with living set apart and righteous. I ain't never had to worry about nobody saying nothing crazy to me on the Shabbat because I ain't out in the world. I don't have to worry about nobody scamming me. You know why? Because I'm still. Don't have to worry about no car breaking down because I'm resting. These people that hate the law will constantly complain about how tired they are. I don't know why I'm so tired. My feet hurt. My back hurt. Can't catch a break. You catch a break, but you ain't trying to catch one. Most of y'all are ordained for you to have a break. You're too ignorant to want it. You go in there for an hour and a half and think that's rest. Jokers in there tickling your ears. You should have a headache after you came out there and let the people play with your mind. And you paid them for it. Paying these people to make you spiritually retarded. I'm telling you, better pay attention. Listen to these people. When they say the law is done away with, you need to look at them like they nasty. Because that's what, to not want to walk in righteousness, man, that's to be wicked. That's to be wicked. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you are on the right side of the law. lawful, law-abiding, or lawless. There ain't no gray area. You can't straddle this fence. All judgment's coming. Let me jump over here. Nope. Get your butt on somewhere. Get your butt on somewhere. Most High Yah knows where your heart is. Man, I thank you for tuning in. Shabbat Shalom, Brother Delva, Brother White, Ethan, Nathaniel Nelson. Let's see. Jamie Durant, Timothy Richards. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you guys continue having a blessed Shabbat and can rejoice and thank the Most High Yah for him delivering you out of this wickedness of your former ignorance. Let's see. Nathaniel Nelson said, question, will you do a live stream? Let me write this down. Let me get my notepad. And that's another one right there. He said, will you do a live stream on wives obeying their covering? Let me see. Write that down. Man, you realize when you read about the righteous women, there's always something about respect, reverence, honor, or obedience, submission, always, never fails. And if it's not there, you're learning about the wickedness. Man, let me tell you something. If somebody flat out tell you they not going to obey, you need to see it for what it is. They lawless. You dragging a boat anchor on dry ground, a 50-pound boat anchor. You're toting a leech. That's what you're doing. Hey, I appreciate you for tuning in. Hope you guys have a blessed Shabbat. You know, Shabbat Shalom, the King is coming. The day of judgment is near. Repent for your sins. Walk strong. Close to the Yah Ministries. Kicking it gun barrel straight.